Right. These are massive and huge breaking developments tonight about what is severe Obama-era FISA abuses. This letter, just released tonight to the Attorney General Jeff Sessions, the House Intel Committee Chair Devin Nunes, is detailing how the FBI may have literally broken the law and violated Bureau protocols when obtaining that FISA warrant to surveil Trump campaign associate Carter Page. Now, in this letter released tonight, Nunes points out specific DOJ guidelines when it comes to FISA surveillance. He writes, quote, under the subsection, FISA verification and accuracy procedures, the FBI itself acknowledges this importance. Quote, the accuracy of information contained within FISA applications is of the utmost importance. Only documented and verified information may be used to support FBI applications, FISA warrants to the court. Given this new information, Chairman Nunes, he is now demanding the DOJ explain if, in fact, these protocols are still in place. We already know the answer. They never verified this. And if they are, the chairman wants to know how officials will be punished for violating this law, lying to a FISA judge, and not following protocol. This letter also points out how using this false information in a FISA court could violate several laws. Look at them on the screen. 18 U.S.C. 242, using color of law to conduct a targeted investigation based on the pretext of law enforcement. Then you have 50 U.S.C. 1809, surveillance conducted under color of law in a manner not authorized by a FISA conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and contempt of court. What this means is the scandal is getting bigger and bigger, unlike an abuse of power we have ever seen in the history of this country. That's why we are peeling layer after layer of this onion. Now, Greg Jarrett, Sarah Carter, Jason Chaffetz, the great one, Mark Levin, will all have reaction to this tonight. And also breaking, we have more evidence the Democrats' Trump-Russia collusion narrative for 20 months is a complete farce. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, you know, the ranking member of the House Intel Committee, longtime professional Trump hater, he's now admitting that the scary, damning, earth-shattering information that he has now been playing up for more than a year is already in the public domain. Really? Where is it? Watch this.
You said you had more than circumstantial evidence of treasonous collusion with Russia. What specifically were you referring to? And please be specific, because if it's true, I do believe Americans have the right to know a year later what that is.
Well, I've certainly said that there's ample evidence of collusion. I've never used the word treason. Only Steve Bannon has used that word. But if you look at the facts that are already in the public domain, they're pretty damning.
Is it enough for Mueller to bring charges? Because if it isn't enough for Mueller to bring charges, what does that mean?
Well, what it means...
Charges of collusion.
This is a very important question, and that is what's Mueller's job and what's our job? Bob Mueller will make the decision whether there is proof beyond reasonable doubt to indict and convict people. It is not his responsibility to tell the country what happened.
Amazing job, Meghan McCain. Let me give you the translation. Adam Schiff is accusing Trump of collusion with little more than speculation, rumor, and a phony Russian dossier that was never corroborated or verified. Do you see how severe this is? Now, we may well find out in coming weeks or months that Schiff's constant anti-Trump five-alarm fires has been nothing more than political hyperbole meant to damage a sitting president that you voted for so he could win favor with his liberal base and get hired by conspiracy TV MSNBC. And it's probably why, according to the RNC, Schiff has appeared on television 227 times since President Trump's inauguration. So it's only a matter of time where NBC hires him. Maybe he'll take over from Matt Lauer, who's been out for a while. Also brand new tonight, Robert Mueller now facing criticism from someone who has intimate knowledge of special counsel investigations. Kenneth Starr, you might remember, independent counsel responsible for investigating Bill Clinton in the 90s. He is saying that Mueller, something we've been saying, might be crossing a line. Watch this.
Bob Mueller looking into Trump's business dealings before 2016 to see if there was potential opportunity for exertion of influence by Russian, any kind of actors on their part. Fair point.
I think it's beyond his mandate. The mandate is what happened during the 2016 election in terms of collusion. In fact, I think that the indictment almost 2 weeks ago of the 13 Russian nationals and the 3 companies suggests there was no collusion. My sense would be, but I don't have all the facts, Bob, I love you, but let's just stay focused on what the issue is, and that's collusion in the campaign.
Starr went on to explain that while Mueller's investigation must remain narrowly focused, it's up to the Deputy Attorney General. He's right, Rod Rosenstein, who is overseeing this case, to keep Mueller on task. Now, remember, this whole witch hunt was supposed to only be about Trump-Russia collusion. That evidence does not exist all of this time. Now, speaking of Russia, think about this. With all that talk, we have another major breaking news story tonight, and that's the Russian president, the bad actor, Vladimir Putin. Oh, that's right, the guy that Obama said wasn't a bad actor and tell Vladimir I'll have more flexibility after the election. Remember that guy? He's claiming he has brand new nuclear weapons that can penetrate America's defenses. Now, Putin made the announcement during a State of the Nation speech. He detailed how these new weapons literally include a nuclear power cruise missile and a new hypersonic missile and a nuclear-powered underwater drone. U.S. officials are casting a lot of doubt on Putin's comments, but saying that his new cruise missile is still in the test phase and has crashed a few times? Okay. And here's my point tonight. You have the liberal media and the Democrats totally obsessed over a conspiracy theory, Trump-Russia collusion, even though we have zero evidence. Putin, every single day, as we are doing this, is getting stronger. And the left and the media are literally playing right into Putin and Russia's hands. Now, Putin's entire goal, what is it? To sow political discord in America. And that's exactly what the left, that's exactly what the media are literally doing by going down the Russia collusion rabbit hole with no evidence. Then there's Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Remember Obama mocking Mitt Romney for daring to call Russia a threat and then ignored threats, specific threats in 2014 from Devin Nunes and others on the House Intel Committee. And he told President Trump, stop whining about the election and election interference just days before the election. And Hillary Clinton stupidly, remember that silly reset button? She's going to reset relations with Russia. And then she helped approve giving Russia and Putin control of 20% of our uranium. And then she paid for the Russian dossier filled with Russian government lies. You know, so great job, media and Democrats. You've done a great job dividing the country and lying to the American people without evidence and pushing baseless conspiracy theories because you hate Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin's getting stronger. Now, we have more breaking news tonight. This story is outrageous. The Department of Justice is trying to determine if the mayor of Oakland, if she literally obstructed justice, warning criminal illegal immigrants about ICE raids. Now, this liberal mayor, well, she took to Twitter on Saturday and to alter illegal immigrants and warn them in the Oakland area that, hey, federal immigration authorities are preparing to conduct operations. Now, the acting head of ICE is blasting this mayor, saying that her stunt allowed about 800 criminal illegal immigrants to avoid arrest. And he also said this on Fox and Friends this morning. Let's take a look.
What she did is no better than a gang lookout yelling police when a police cruiser comes in the neighborhood, except she did it to the entire community. I mean, it's beyond the pale. I've been doing this for 34 years, and this is a whole new low to intentionally warn criminals that law enforcement's coming. Being a law enforcement officer is already dangerous enough, but to give the criminals a heads up that we're coming in the next 24 hours increases that risk, puts them, you're talking about, these are American heroes that strap a gun to the hip every day to defend this nation. And to tell the criminals we're coming in the next 24 hours, it's just incredible.
Beyond incredible. The mayor of Oakland is literally aiding and abetting criminal illegal immigrants. And, of course, she is defending her actions, writing on Twitter, not talking about the consequences. I don't regret sharing this information. It is Oakland's legal right to be a sanctuary city, and we have not broken any laws. We believe our community is safer when families stay together. Okay, they did break laws. We have laws on the books. It's pathetic. But what the mayor's not saying, and clearly, obviously doesn't realize or care, is that not only is she putting immigration authorities' lives at risk, she's doing the same thing for American citizens in her community. Now, ICE is saying all they're trying to do is get the bad people off the street. So guess what? If any of the criminal illegal immigrants that should have been detained commit a crime, then the blood will be on her hands. And literally, she will be responsible for whatever happens. She owns this. Now, we have a major update, too, tonight on the Florida school shooting. Fox News reporting the commanding officer, we are now confirming tonight, on the scene during Nicholas Cruz's rampage, literally ordered some of the first responder deputies to set up a perimeter instead of confronting and neutralizing this madman, this gunman. Now, this new piece of information is beyond stunning. Now, the Broward County Sheriff's Office policy for dealing with active shooter situations says first responders may go into a building to save lives without permission. The policy does not appear to mention anything about setting up a perimeter. If that's the case, then the question is, why did at least 4 Broward County Sheriff's deputies not rush into the school like the neighboring community Coral Gables officers did to save lives? Now, Fox News is also reporting that there were delays in allowing EMTs to go inside the school. Remember, we're talking about kids. These moments, precious seconds, save lives. And we also know that there were dozens of missed warning signs prior to the shooting by the FBI and the Broward County Sheriff's Office. This is one huge, massive, big government bureaucratic failure at every level. The government failed the people of Florida, and as we have been telling you, Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel is refusing to accept even an ounce of responsibility. And he's also saying that he likely will not release video of how deputies responded so that we, you, the American people, can see exactly what happened. Shameful, because the tragedy could have been prevented.